Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the John Bierchen Show. I am play-by-play voice and director of broadcasting Kendall, Grayson, joined every week by head coach John Bierchen. Coach, the first semester has ended. Alabama finishes at 9-9-0-2. So looking back at the first semester's play overall in terms of what the team accomplished on the ice, what are some of the highlights for you from the first semester?
First, everybody likes to talk about results. So we had 6 Division I wins on the road, so that's certainly something I think was a pretty good experience for all of our guys to go on the road and accomplish those things. But certainly when we went into some hostile environments, Oklahoma was a pretty good environment. Certainly the midnight game at Liberty with 4,000 people and it being on ESPN3, that was a pretty good environment. So I think the guys got a lot out of that. Going on some of these 3 games in 3 days road trip, that's something that you got to get experience doing, and I think they did a really good job with that. And learning how to just manage the whole student athlete aspect, I think is certainly something important. But I think we did a really good job establishing the culture that and the identity that we want to be known as a team. You look at this past weekend and the results weren't obviously what we were looking for, but you have players like Casey Donegan and Jerry Jordan that with 2-3 minutes left in the game on Saturday, yes, we're down 7-0, but they're still blocking shots, people are still hunting pucks. So I think those are the things that I'm most proud of, at least, is that we're establishing the identity that we want to be known as a team on the ice.
In this show, we'll talk about what Alabama accomplished off the ice as well this first semester. But for now, let's stay on the ice and talk about the Buffalo tournament. Specifically, Alabama advanced to the semifinals, the first time that tournament has ever taken place. But I think the highlight of that weekend was Alabama, for the first time in team history, played an outdoor game on Saturday night, and they defeated the Golden Griffins of Canisius College. So, Coach, that's a highlight that I will remember. That's not something that everybody gets to do in college hockey, is go outside and play an outdoor game. It was a great atmosphere, and at the end of the night, Alabama got the win.
Yeah, it was certainly a great experience. We do a pretty good job here of trying to put the guys in a lot of different experiences that they might not otherwise get. So having that outdoor game was a really good experience, I think, for the guys, but it was probably the one trip that we had the most family members on as well. So a really good experience for the families that made the trip. So hopefully we get to do those things in the future, because it was certainly a great experience.
So as we're talking about the games and the highlights this first semester for Alabama, also some on-ice highlights that didn't happen during actual play, I think, was the morning skate that we had at the home of the Erie Otters, and also the morning skate just a couple of weekends ago at the home of the Rockford Ice Hogs in the American Hockey League. So, Coach, you've been able to show these players what professionalism looks like in terms of how things are done at that level and the major junior level as well, the Erie Otters. But how important do you think it is to be able to show the players that is a goal that's attainable for them, and moving on at some point and going to professional hockey and seeing that up close and in person? I think that really had to add to their enthusiasm as they went forward in those weekend's games.
Well, I think obviously when you tell somebody something, it's always hard for them to grasp it if they're not used to being in those type of situations. So, when we really preach about, this is the way the Columbus Cottonmouths did it, and this is the way that, the Rockford Ice Hogs did it in this situation, and getting to bring guys over and meet Jerome Bichard and get to go up to Rockford and meet, Ted Dent and the staff there. And, I think it really just gives everybody perspective as, this is what it takes to be successful. This is what it takes to get to the next level. So I think it's certainly worked out for us this semester. We're going to continue to do those things. We do have some trips planned second semester that I'm sure people will eventually find out about. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's worked out better than we thought it would in terms of continuing to establish that foundation and culture that we're looking to build. So we really appreciate everything that the Columbus Cottonmouths and Jerome Bichard have done, and Ted Dent and Mark Bernard and the Rockford Ice Hogs have done, and then even places that we might not know somebody like the Erie Otters, but for them opening their facility up for us and showing us what it's like to be at a professional level.
Let's talk about what Alabama accomplished off the ice this semester. Right here at the Pelham Civic Complex, they had 2 special nights in terms of trying to reach out and help the community. They had a Harambe night where they helped raise money for endangered species, and then also Donegan Night and Alabama Hockey held a canned food drive here at the Pelham Civic Complex. So those were a couple of highlights in terms of what they're doing off the ice before games and during the games. But I just want to ask about that. How important do you feel it is to be able to do those things and help the community out? And how important do you think it is going forward that the team continues to do things like that?
Well, it was certainly, I think, a positive this semester having, the Suncoast Primate Sanctuary that we were doing stuff with, and West Alabama Food Bank, and I think it just continues to teach the guys how to be leaders and how to mentor people. Like we've done the the elementary school readings and kind of like the one-on-one mentorships in Tuscaloosa, and I think it just gives again like the guys' perspective. I think when you talk about being a leader or being in charge of an organization, you have to manage a lot of different personalities and people from a lot of diverse backgrounds. So getting yourself involved with a lot of different groups and children and stuff, like you learn how to communicate, you learn how to relate to different people and their backgrounds and where they came from and what situations that might be going on in their life that you've never had to deal with. So I think it's been a really beneficial semester, and we look forward to continuing that stuff next semester and years to come.
You speak about next semester. Alabama starts off with 4 very important games, 2 against the Oklahoma Sooners, 2 against the Liberty Flames, and for the first time ever, Alabama will host a top 25 ACHA Division I opponent right here at the Pelham Civic Complex, and they'll do that for 4 games, starting with those 2 weekends. So that's what's to look forward to if you're a fan in early January. But Coach, I know that the team is expecting a big crowd here at the Pelham Civic Complex. There's a lot of interest throughout the season, but typically when January comes and Alabama starts to really put these big matchups on tap here at the Pelham Civic Complex, that's when the interest really ramps up for this program. So if you could just talk about those opportunities for your team in the early portion of the second semester.
Yeah, I will say we've certainly had a lot of road trips first semester, so I know it took a lot physically and mentally from the guys. So I know that they're really excited to get back and kind of be in front of the home crowd on a consistent basis, kind of week in and week out, and kind of get that culture established too, and continue to build it with the crowds and get people to know the players a little bit better. So I know they're really excited. We're really looking forward to it, especially having big name schools like Oklahoma, West Virginia, Auburn coming up in a short amount of time. So it's something that we're certainly excited about.
Looking forward into the second semester, Coach, what are your expectations for this program?
Well, we're just looking to kind of build on everything that we've established. So, there's a lot involved with, these programs, whether it's, the football team or the basketball team, the softball team, the gymnastics team, everybody's, program has a lot involved. And, as we continue to add different aspects to it, and kind of build everything, we're certainly just looking to get better. So, obviously the results are not what we're looking for. We're not undefeated, which is, perfection that we're striving for. But, we're not going to sit there and change something just to win one game. We're here. It's about 3 years from now when we're in the national championship game. Blocking a shot with 30 seconds to left is an afterthought. Like you're just going to do that. Getting up. On a Saturday morning, in May to go to do strength and conditioning, that's just something that we do. So we're going to keep building off those things and, looking for that to just continue to help the program grow.
Thanks for watching this special edition, the first semester recap of the John Bierchen Show. For head coach John Bierchen, I am Kendall Grayson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in 2017.